The silent advantage. Dr. Sarah Chen stood motionless in the quantum observation chamber of Luna Base Omega, her eyes fixed on the holographic display that showed thousands of ships emerging from hyperspace at the edge of the solar system. These weren't the usual merchant vessels or diplomatic shuttles. These were Arcturian warships, their distinctive crystalline hulls glinting in the starlight. Director Chen, the quantum sensors are picking up energy signatures far beyond anything the Arcturians have ever demonstrated, her assistant Marcus reported from his station. They think they're surprising us. Sarah allowed herself a small smile. For 20 years, humanity had maintained the greatest deception in galactic history. While the Arcturian Empire believed they were dealing with a primitive species barely capable of interstellar travel, Earth had been preparing for this very moment. "Begin Protocol Omega," she commanded, her voice steady despite the weight of the moment, and informed the Security Council that Operation Shadow Dance is now in effect. Throughout the solar system, hidden quantum generators began powering up. These weren't the fusion reactors the Arcturians believed powered human civilization. They were something far more sophisticated. Each generator had been carefully concealed beneath a facade of primitive technology, waiting for the day they would be needed. The Arcturian fleet moved with practiced precision, their formation suggesting they expected minimal resistance. Their intelligence suggested Earth's defenses consisted of a scattered network of conventional missile platforms and a small fleet of sublight vessels. They couldn't have been more wrong. "All quantum shielding is now active," Marcus announced. "The Arcturians are scanning us with standard electromagnetic sensors. They're still seeing exactly what we want them to see." Sarah walked to the central command platform, her footsteps echoing in the cavernous chamber. The room itself was a testament to humanity's true capabilities. Quantum computers that had been disguised as primitive mainframes, artificial gravity systems that made the Arcturian equivalent look like children's toys. "Send the signal to Admiral Hassan," she ordered. "Tell him he has authorization to unveil the Phantom Fleet." In the void between Mars and Jupiter, space itself seemed to ripple. The quantum pocket dimensions that humanity had perfected years ago began to open, revealing what had been hidden inside. Ship after ship emerged, not the bulky, primitive vessels the Arcturians were familiar with, but sleek predators built with technology that humanity had kept secret. The Arcturian fleet's commander, High Marshal Vexthor, was known throughout the galaxy for his tactical brilliance. But today, he was about to learn that his intelligence about Earth was fatally flawed. His ships continued their advance, their weapons charging for what they expected to be a swift conquest. "They're launching their first wave of attacks," Marcus reported, his voice tight with anticipation. "Quantum shields are holding at full strength. They don't understand why their weapons aren't having any effect." Sarah watched as the Arcturian energy beams, weapons that could normally shatter planets, dissipated harmlessly against Earth's quantum barriers. The deception had been perfect. Every time the Arcturians had tested Earth's defensive capabilities, they had been shown exactly what humanity wanted them to see: primitive shields that could barely stop a meteor. "Signal Admiral Hassan," Sarah commanded. "He may begin Phase 2. The Phantom Fleet moved with a coordination that would have seemed impossible to outside observers. Their quantum drives, far more advanced than the clumsy warp engines the Arcturians believed humans relied on, allowed them to appear and disappear at will. One moment, an Arcturian battleship would be preparing to fire. The next, it would find itself surrounded by human vessels that seemed to materialize from nowhere. "We're receiving a transmission from High Marshal Vexthor," Marcus announced, a note of satisfaction in his voice. "He's demanding to know how this is possible." Sarah straightened her uniform and nodded. "Put him through on the main display. It's time to educate our Arcturian friends about the dangers of underestimating humanity." The holographic image of Vexthor appeared before her, his crystalline features twisted in a mixture of rage and disbelief. "What is the meaning of this deception?" he demanded. "Your species was supposed to be primitive, helpless, easy to conquer." Sarah cut him off, her voice calm but carrying an edge of steel. High Marshal, did it never occur to you that a species capable of achieving spaceflight in mere centuries might be capable of more than we showed you? Through the quantum sensors, Sarah could see the Arcturian fleet's formation beginning to break. Their carefully planned invasion was falling apart in the face of technology they hadn't believed possible. Ships that had been designed to dominate primitive human vessels found themselves unable to even track their targets as the Phantom Fleet executed maneuvers that seemed to defy physics itself. "You violated the peace accords," Vexthor sputtered, trying to maintain his authority even as his fleet crumbled around him. The Galactic Council will learn that humanity has been protecting itself from exactly this kind of aggression," Sarah interrupted. "We have recorded every communication between your ships, every order to prepare for invasion. Did you really think we wouldn't notice your fleet gathering? That we wouldn't prepare?" The quantum sensors showed more Arcturian ships attempting to retreat, their crews finally realizing the magnitude of their mistake. But humanity's quantum net had already been cast. None of them would be leaving until Earth's message had been delivered. "You have two choices, High Marshal," Sarah continued, her voice level. "You can order your fleet to stand down and prepare to accept new terms for our relationship with the Arcturian Empire, or you can continue this attack and learn exactly how much of our technology we've kept hidden." The silence that followed was broken only by the soft hum of quantum computers and the occasional status update from Marcus. Sarah could see the conflict in Vexthor's expression as he realized just how completely he had been outmaneuvered. "The choice is yours," she concluded, "but I suggest you choose quickly. Our quantum generators are just warming up, and I assure you, you haven't seen anything yet." As the hologram flickered with Vexthor's indecision, Sarah allowed herself to reflect on the years of preparation that had led to this moment. Humanity had learned early on that in a galaxy full of ancient empires and advanced civilizations, sometimes the best advantage was letting your opponents believe they had the upper hand. Now that advantage had given Earth the opportunity to reshape the balance of power in the galaxy. The only question that remained was whether the Arcturians would be wise enough to accept their new reality, or if humanity would need to provide an even more dramatic demonstration of their capabilities. Calculated deception. Admiral Zara Hassan watched from the bridge of the TSS Prometheus as the Arcturian fleet hung suspended in Earth's quantum containment field. The massive holographic display before her showed every detail of their crystalline ships, now trapped like insects in amber. Her flagship, hidden for years in dimensional pocket space, was finally revealing its true form to the galaxy. "Status report on the neural network," she commanded, her dark eyes reflecting the shimmer of quantum calculations dancing across the bridge's displays. Lieutenant Commander Jack Torres responded from his station, fingers dancing across the quantum interface. "The network is operating at full capacity, Admiral. We're successfully predicting Arcturian tactical responses 5 moves ahead. Their attempts at breaking the containment field are exactly where we calculated they would be." Zara nodded, satisfaction evident in her slight smile. The neural network had been one of humanity's greatest achievements, and their best-kept secret. While the Arcturians believed they were dealing with simple predictive algorithms, Earth's quantum computers had been mapping their every move, learning their strategies, and preparing countermeasures for years. High Marshal Vexthor is requesting another audience, Communications Officer Maya Patel announced. His tone suggests increasing desperation. "Let him wait," Zara replied, her voice carrying the weight of authority earned through decades of preparation. "Let's show him exactly what he's dealing with first. Initiate Protocol Obsidian." Throughout the solar system, massive structures began emerging from their quantum camouflage. What the Arcturians had dismissed as primitive orbital habitats and mining stations transformed before their eyes. Each installation revealed itself as a hub of advanced technology, bristling with weapons and defensive systems that made their own look primitive by comparison. "Admiral," Torres called out, "we're detecting multiple quantum signature fluctuations from within the Arcturian fleet. They're attempting to deploy their secret weapon." Zara's expression remained unchanged. Right on schedule. Execute containment pattern Delta. The Arcturians had believed their quantum torpedo technology was unprecedented, a weapon so powerful and so secret that no species could possibly defend against it. They didn't know that humanity had discovered it, analyzed it, and developed countermeasures years ago. As the Arcturian ships launched their quantum torpedoes, reality itself seemed to twist around them. But instead of the devastating chain reaction they expected, the weapons simply vanished, absorbed by human quantum sinks that had been waiting for exactly this moment. "My God," Torres whispered, "they really thought that would work. They had no idea we've been able to detect their weapon tests in the Carina Nebula for the past 5 years." Zara stood from her command chair, her uniform gleaming under the quantum-enhanced lighting of the bridge. "Open a channel to all Arcturian vessels. It's time they understood exactly what they're facing." The holographic displays shifted, showing the faces of hundreds of Arcturian commanders, their crystalline features reflecting a mixture of fear, anger, and disbelief. At the center was High Marshal Vex Thor, his previous arrogance replaced by growing comprehension of his situation. "Commanders of the Arcturian fleet," Zara began, her voice carrying across quantum channels that the Arcturians had believed impossible for humans to access. "You are no doubt wondering how we achieved this level of technological advancement without your knowledge. The answer is simple. We never showed you our true capabilities." She gestured, and a holographic display expanded to show the full extent of Earth's defensive network. "Every time you tested us, every time you probed our defenses, we showed you exactly what you expected to see. You believed you were dealing with a young, naive species. In reality, you were dealing with one that had learned the value of keeping its advantages hidden." "This is impossible," one of the Arcturian commanders protested. "Our intelligence networks were exactly as effective as we allowed them to be," Zara interrupted. "While you watched our visible technology, our real advances were happening in quantum space, in dimensions your sensors couldn't detect. Every piece of primitive technology we showed you was a carefully crafted deception. The neural network was predicting their responses with perfect accuracy. Fear, denial, anger. Each emotion flashed across the Arcturian faces exactly as calculated. Humanity had spent years studying their psychology, understanding how they would react when their perceived superiority was challenged. Your fleet remains contained," Zora continued, "not because we wish to destroy you, but because we wish to negotiate from a position of honest strength. For too long, the Arcturian Empire has believed it could manipulate younger species through technological intimidation. That ends today." She nodded to Taurus, who initiated the next phase of their revelation. Across the solar system, more human ships emerged from quantum space. Not just warships, but research vessels, exploration craft, and ships of designs the Arcturians had never seen before. "What you see before you is merely a fraction of humanity's true capabilities," Zorat explained. "We have spent years preparing not for war, but for the moment when we could finally deal with you as equals. The question now is, are you prepared to do the same?" The silence that followed was profound. The neural network predicted a 97% probability that the Arcturians would choose negotiation over continued conflict. Their entire strategy had been based on the assumption of technological superiority, an assumption that had just been shattered. "Your empire stands at a crossroads," Zora concluded. "You can accept that humanity is not the primitive species you believed us to be and work with us to build a more equitable galaxy, or you can continue to cling to your illusions of superiority. The choice is yours, but know this: the deception is over. From this moment forward, you will be dealing with humanity as we truly are." As the quantum communications fell silent, Zara returned to her command chair. The neural network was already calculating the most likely paths forward, mapping out the complex web of possibilities that would shape the future of human-Arcturian relations. "Admiral," Torres reported, "we're detecting quantum communications between the Arcturian ships. They're discussing their options." "Let them talk," Zora replied, her confidence unwavering. They're about to learn that sometimes the most powerful technology isn't the one that destroys your enemies, but the one that makes them question everything they thought they knew. The Hidden Fleet. The quantum darkness between Mars and Saturn rippled like disturbed water. Captain Elena Rodriguez stood on the bridge of the TSS Shadowblade, watching as humanity's greatest secret revealed itself to the galaxy. One by one, the ships of the Hidden Fleet emerged from their dimensional sanctuary, where they had waited for decades. Final count confirms 5,000 vessels fully operational. First Officer David Chen reported, his hand steady on the quantum interface. All crews reporting ready, all systems optimal. The Arcturians are attempting to recalibrate their sensors to understand what they're seeing. Elena allowed herself a moment to appreciate the magnitude of what they were witnessing. Each ship in the Hidden Fleet represented a technological breakthrough that the Arcturians had believed impossible. While Earth had presented a facade of primitive spacecraft held together by basic fusion drives, these vessels had been built in secret, powered by technology that bordered on the miraculous. Status of the Quantum Fold Network, she asked, her voice carrying the calm authority that had earned her command of humanity's most advanced stealth vessel. Network is stable and expanding, Chen responded. We're successfully maintaining the dimensional pocket space that concealed the fleet. The Arcturians still can't explain how we managed to hide this many ships in what they thought was empty space. The holographic displays showed the Arcturian fleet's increasingly frantic attempts to understand what they were witnessing. Their sensors, designed to detect conventional propulsion and energy signatures, were useless against ships that could shift between dimensions at will. Captain, Lieutenant Sarah Wong called from her station. We're receiving a priority transmission from Admiral Hassan. The Arcturian High Command is requesting an explanation for our technological capabilities. Elena straightened her uniform, put it through to the main display. It's time they learned about Project Eclipse. The holographic image materialized, showing Admiral Hassan aboard the Prometheus, with High Marshal Vex Thor and several other Arcturian commanders visible in split screen. The crystalline beings looked distinctly uncomfortable, their previous arrogance replaced by barely concealed fear. Captain Rodriguez, Admiral Hassan began, please explain to our Arcturian colleagues exactly what they're witnessing. Elena stepped forward, her voice clear and confident. What you're seeing is the culmination of Project Eclipse, humanity's response to the Arcturian Empire's policy of technological suppression. While you believed we were struggling with basic spaceflight, we were perfecting the art of quantum dimensional engineering. She gestured, and the holographic display expanded to show the full scope of the Hidden Fleet. Ships of all sizes and configurations moved in perfect formation, their quantum drives allowing them to perform maneuvers that seemed to defy physics itself. Each vessel you see represents a different breakthrough, Elena continued. The Shadowblade-class ships, like my own command, can move through quantum space at will. The Prometheus-class dreadnoughts carry enough firepower to reshape solar systems. The Oracle-class carriers house quantum computers that can process more information than your entire empire's network. Impossible, one of the Arcturian commanders interrupted. We've monitored your research facilities. Your technological development was exactly what we wanted you to see, Elena cut in. Every facility you monitored was a carefully constructed facade. Our real research and development happened in dimensional pocket space, completely invisible to your surveillance. She nodded to Chen, who initiated a demonstration. The Shadowblade shifted slightly, its quantum field rippling, and suddenly it was behind the Arcturian command ship. Before their sensors could even register the movement, it had returned to its original position. That, Elena explained, is what we call quantum folding. While you were watching us experiment with primitive warp drives, we had already mastered the art of moving through higher dimensions. Every failure you observed, every setback you celebrated, was carefully orchestrated to maintain our deception. The Arcturian commanders conferred among themselves, their crystalline features reflecting the light of thousands of human ships they hadn't believed possible. Elena could see the moment they realized the full implications of what they were witnessing. Your empire's entire strategy was based on maintaining technological superiority, she continued. You believed that by controlling the development of younger species, by keeping them dependent on your technology, you could maintain your dominance. But humanity chose a different path. The Hidden Fleet continued its deployment, ships moving with a precision that spoke of years of secret training. Each vessel represented countless hours of preparation, countless sacrifices made by crews who had given up years of their lives to maintain the deception. We could have revealed ourselves earlier, Elena acknowledged. We could have challenged your dominance as soon as we achieved quantum superiority. But we chose to wait, to build our strength in secret, because we understood something you never did. True power lies not in what you show, but in what you keep hidden. She turned to face the Arcturian commanders directly. The Hidden Fleet isn't just a military force, it's a message. Humanity will no longer accept the role you tried to force upon us. We are not your subordinates, not your students, and certainly not your subjects. We are your equals, and from this moment forward, you will treat us as such. The quantum sensors detected increased activity among the Arcturian ships. They were attempting to communicate with their home worlds, trying to understand how their intelligence could have failed so completely. Captain, Chen reported, we're detecting quantum signature fluctuations throughout the Arcturian fleet. They're trying to analyze our technology. Elena smiled slightly. Let them look. They're about to discover that understanding our technology and being able to replicate it are two very different things. The Hidden Fleet represents decades of human innovation, crafted in secret while you believed you were watching our every move. The holographic display showed more Arcturian ships arriving at the edge of the solar system, drawn by the unprecedented revelation of human power. But Elena knew it didn't matter how many ships they brought. The balance of power had shifted irreversibly. The choice is yours, she concluded, addressing the Arcturian commanders. You can accept the new reality and work with us as equals, or you can continue to cling to your illusions of superiority. But understand this, the Hidden Fleet is just the beginning. Humanity has more secrets, more innovations that you haven't discovered. The only question is whether you'll be wise enough to accept us as partners rather than forcing us to reveal them as adversaries. Breaking point. The Grand Council chamber of the Arcturian Empire was in chaos. Ambassador Michael John watched from Earth's observation platform as the crystalline beings that had once ruled the galaxy with unwavering authority turned on each other. The quantum feeds showed similar scenes playing out across 100 worlds as the truth about humanity's deception spread. Another Arcturian colony world has declared independence, reported diplomatic analyst Aisha Patel, her eyes scanning the quantum data streams. That makes 17 in the past 6 hours. Their entire power structure is collapsing. Michael nodded, his expression grave. He had spent 15 years as Earth's ambassador to the Empire, playing the role of an eager but naive diplomat from a primitive species. Now, watching the Empire tear itself apart, he felt no satisfaction, only a deep understanding of the responsibility that came with victory. What's the status of the refugee situation? He asked, turning to face the holographic display of displacement patterns across Arcturian space. We're tracking massive population movements, Aisha responded. Millions of citizens are fleeing from the core worlds. The revelation of humanity's true capabilities has triggered a complete breakdown of their social order. The quantum feeds showed scenes of Arcturian warships turning against each other, of colonial governors declaring independence, of trade routes collapsing as the carefully maintained facade of imperial superiority crumbled. The Empire had built its authority on technological supremacy, and humanity had shattered that foundation. Ambassador, a voice called from the communication station. We're receiving a priority transmission from the Imperial Palace. The Emperor himself is requesting an audience. Michael straightened his uniform. This was the moment they had prepared for, the culmination of humanity's long game. Put it through to the main chamber. The holographic image that materialized showed Emperor Crystallix, his crystalline form dimmed with stress, his usual entourage of advisors notably absent. The being who had once commanded the destiny of 1,000 worlds now looked almost fragile. "Ambassador Zheng," the Emperor began, his translator struggling to convey the complex harmonics of distress in his voice. "Your species has achieved something unprecedented. You have not merely defeated us. You have unmade us." "That was never our intention, Your Majesty," Michael replied diplomatically. "Humanity sought only to protect itself from absorption into your empire. The collapse you're witnessing is the result of your own policies, not our actions." The quantum feeds continued to show the spreading chaos. On world after world, species that had been held in check by Arcturian technology were rising up, demanding the same freedoms that humanity had claimed. The carefully maintained hierarchy of the empire was dissolving in real time. "You don't understand," Crystallix insisted. "The empire wasn't just about political control. It was about maintaining order in the galaxy. The technological hierarchy prevented conflicts, kept younger species from destroying themselves. What we've done," Michael interrupted gently, "is prove that your entire philosophy was flawed. You believed that progress had to be controlled, that younger species needed to be guided. But humanity demonstrated that innovation flourishes best in freedom." He gestured, and the holographic display shifted to show the quantum networks humanity had already begun sharing with other species. While the empire crumbled, Earth was extending offers of cooperation and mutual development to worlds that had long suffered under Arcturian restrictions. "Your Majesty," Michael continued, "what you're witnessing isn't just the end of the empire. It's the birth of something new. A galaxy where species cooperate as equals, where technological advancement isn't restricted by artificial hierarchies." The quantum sensors detected more destabilization throughout Arcturian space. Colonial governors were declaring independence, protected species were demanding recognition, and the empire's once mighty fleet was fragmenting as commanders chose sides in the growing civil conflict. "Then what do you propose?" Crystallix asked, his voice heavy with the weight of inevitability. "How does the empire survive this?" Michael stepped forward, his expression serious but compassionate. "The empire as it was cannot survive, Your Majesty, but its people can thrive in a new galactic order, one based on cooperation rather than control." He nodded to Aisha, who initiated the quantum transmission they had prepared. Across Arcturian space, beings of all species received humanity's proposal, a new framework for interstellar cooperation, with Earth serving not as conquerors, but as mediators in the transition to a more equitable galaxy. "We're offering you a choice," Michael explained. "The empire can continue its collapse into chaos, or it can evolve into something greater. Earth is prepared to help stabilize your worlds, to share our technology openly, to work with you in creating a new galactic community." The quantum feeds showed the immediate impact of the transmission. On world after world, beings who had lived under Arcturian dominion for generations were seeing a path forward that didn't require either submission or rebellion. "Your species deceived us for years," Crystallix observed, a note of reluctant admiration in his voice. "How can we trust you now?" "Because we're being honest about our capabilities at last," Michael replied. "We're showing you everything we can do and offering to work with you rather than against you. The deception was necessary for our survival, but the truth is necessary for our future." The holographic displays showed more quantum signatures appearing throughout the galaxy, other species revealing technologies they too had hidden from Arcturian oversight. Humanity's example had inspired others to emerge from the shadows, creating the potential for a truly multilateral galactic civilization. "The Empire's greatest mistake," Michael concluded, "was believing that control was the same as stability. We're offering you the chance to learn from that mistake, to help build something that lasts not because it's imposed from above, but because all species choose to participate in it." As the quantum feeds continued to show the transformation sweeping across the galaxy, Michael knew they were witnessing a pivotal moment in history. The Empire's breaking point had become the galaxy's breakthrough, and humanity's greatest deception had paved the way for its most important truth. A new dawn. 1 year after the revelation of humanity's true capabilities, the new Geneva space station hung in high orbit above Earth, its quantum-enhanced architecture gleaming in the sunlight. Inside the Grand Assembly Chamber, Director General Maria Santos surveyed the gathered representatives of 30 different species, former imperial worlds, independent civilizations, and emerging spacefaring races, all united in what had become known as the Galactic Cooperative. The Quantum Synchronization Network is now operating at full capacity, her aide, Dr. Thomas Williams, reported quietly. Every member world is fully connected for the first time. Maria nodded, feeling the weight of the moment. The network represented everything humanity had hoped to achieve. Not dominance, but true cooperation. While the Arcturian Empire had hoarded technology, Earth had chosen to share it, transforming former rivals into partners. Representatives of the cooperative, she began, her voice carrying across the chamber through quantum-enhanced acoustics. Today marks not just the first anniversary of the Great Revelation, but the beginning of a new era in galactic history. The holographic displays showed real-time images from across known space. Where once there had been rigid hierarchies and restricted technologies, now there was an explosion of innovation. Species that had been held back by imperial restrictions were making breakthroughs daily, adding their own insights to the collective knowledge of the cooperative. In 1 year, Maria continued, we have achieved what the Empire claimed was impossible. We have created a galactic community where advancement is not controlled, but shared, where innovation is not restricted, but celebrated. Among the delegates, she could see former Arcturian officials sitting alongside representatives from worlds that had once been their subjects. The crystalline beings had adapted better than anyone had expected, their natural affinity for structure finding new expression in cooperative frameworks rather than imperial control. The Quantum Research Facility on Proxima Centauri reports another breakthrough. Dr. Williams whispered, passing her a data crystal. The Valaxians and the Centaurians have successfully merged their crystalline computing technology with our quantum systems. Maria smiled. This was exactly what humanity had hoped for. Genuine collaboration producing results that neither species could have achieved alone. The cooperative wasn't just preserving knowledge, it was creating it at an unprecedented rate. We have proven, she addressed the assembly, that true strength lies not in superiority, but in synthesis, not in control, but in cooperation. The Arcturian Empire believed that progress had to be managed. We have shown that it must be unleashed. The quantum feeds showed similar assemblies taking place across cooperative space. On 1,000 worlds, beings of all species were gathering to mark this moment. The anniversary of humanity's revelation had become a symbol of transformation throughout the galaxy. But our work is not complete, Maria continued. Even now, our deep space quantum arrays detect signals from beyond known space. There are more civilizations out there, more species either hiding their capabilities as we once did, or struggling under restrictions as we once did. The holographic display shifted to show the latest quantum sensor data from the galaxy's outer rim. Strange energy signatures, unusual spatial distortions, signs that humanity's story might not be unique. Other species might have chosen the same path of hidden development, waiting for the right moment to emerge. The cooperative extends an open hand to these civilizations, she declared. We offer not dominance, but dialogue, not submission, but partnership. The age of empire is over. The age of collaboration has begun. In the year since the Hidden Fleet's revelation, humanity had continued to innovate, but now they did so openly, sharing their breakthroughs while encouraging others to do the same. The quantum technologies that had once been their greatest secret had become the foundation for a new kind of galactic society. Director General, a voice called from the Arcturian delegation, we have a proposal from the former Imperial Science Council. Maria nodded for them to proceed. The speaker, a crystalline being named Vexter, ironically, the son of the High Marshal who had led the failed invasion of Earth, stood. "We have discovered," he announced, "that by combining human quantum theory with Arcturian crystal matrices and Galaxian energy systems, we can achieve what none of our species could alone. We propose a joint project to explore the possibilities." This, Maria thought, was the true victory, not the defeat of the Empire, but the transformation of former adversaries into eager collaborators. The very beings who had once sought to control humanity's development were now proposing joint ventures as equals. "The proposal is accepted," she replied, "and it will be open to all member species who wish to participate. This is the way of the cooperative. Advancement through unity, strength through diversity." The quantum feeds showed similar scenes playing out across cooperative space. Former imperial worlds were finding their own paths, developing their own innovations, while maintaining connections through the quantum network that bound them all together. "We stand at the dawn of a new age," Maria concluded. "An age where no species needs to hide its achievements, where no civilization needs to fear discovery, where innovation flows freely across the stars. This is humanity's gift to the galaxy, not our technology, but our vision of what is possible when we work together." As the assembly erupted in approval, Maria looked out at the gathered representatives. The quantum network hummed with activity, carrying their words and ideas to every corner of known space. Humanity had changed the galaxy not through conquest, but through revelation, showing that the path to the stars didn't have to be walked alone. In the space around Earth, ships of all species moved in harmony, their quantum drives pulsing with the same energy that had once been humanity's greatest secret. The hidden fleet still patrolled the borders of cooperative space, but now they did so alongside vessels from a dozen worlds, all working together to protect their shared future. The age of deception was over. The age of cooperation had begun. And somewhere out in the vast darkness between the stars, other civilizations were watching, learning, and preparing to join humanity's great experiment in galactic unity.